They chose to murder 6 million Jews instead. Send her back. Send her back. We've been there. World civilization has been there. We cannot allow it to happen again. Donald Trump has once again in his presidency brought up the rhetoric that is reminiscent not only of Adolf Hitler, but of other dictators. He has attacked the free press, repeatedly called the lying press, or what Hitler would say, the Lügenpresse, auf German, auf Deutsch. Donald Trump has repeatedly said that the lying press is an enemy of the people. That's the way dictators talk about the press. He has said that Muslims are dangerous. He has singled out a religious minority as dangerous to the United States. He did that in his campaign in 2016, and he still does it. He has threatened to put his political opponents in jail.
Find the Politics Podcast with Richard Painter wherever you download podcasts.
We are back. Talk Media News. Joining us, Michael Olesker is joining us. Michael, did I say your name right? He's on for the first time today with us. Good afternoon.
Close. Olesker.
Olesker.
Olesker,
yes. Les is my nickname, and that's the emphasis, right? Olesker.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Michael. Tell us about the heat waves. National Weather Service making a lot of reports.
How is it where you are?
Oh, I'm in Los Angeles. It's pretty typical and hot and dry this time of year.
Well, we're at 98, but they tell us that it feels like 108. The all-time. I'm at home in Baltimore. We have never had temperature that's gone over 107 in our entire history, but they tell us that this weekend it's possible to go even higher. Look, the National Weather Service is telling us that heat waves in general are longer, they're more frequent, they are hotter than ever. This weekend, 2/3 of the United States is expected to go through record high temperatures, which the National Weather Service calls oppressive and dangerous and a silent killer. And if that doesn't sound ominous enough, and it does, we're also told that since the 1960s, the average number of heat waves in 50 American cities has tripled. So for those who are in denial about climate change, including the fellow sitting in the White House, there's a lot of information out there that says he's wrong. So we head into the weekend with two different kinds of heat. There's the weather and there's the political heat. Just moments ago, President Trump walked away from the South Lawn. He was talking to reporters for, I'd say, the better part of half an hour, and he is catching political heat. I would say since his speech the other night in North Carolina, it has intensified. You've seen it. The president went after those 4 Democratic congresswomen, in particular Ilhan Omar. He really went after her in that speech the other night. He's been going after her for about a week, and the crowd took up that chant, "Send her back." To a lot of people, these attacks on these 4 women, all women of color, have been racially motivated. The president denies this, but in his denial, he gets himself into further controversy. Yesterday, at the White House, he was asked, why didn't you stop the chant? And he said, I think I did. I started speaking very quickly. It reminds me of that old line of Groucho Marx's, who are you going to believe, me or your lion eyes? The videotape clearly shows the chanting went on. Donald Trump stood there bathing in it for at least 13 seconds before he went on, and he has caught a lot of flack for this. Today, he's catching it from not only Democrats, but some Republicans and a number of foreign leaders who are saying that this kind of behavior is just unacceptable. On the White House lawn today, he talked about how these 4 women, in particular Congresswoman Omar, were saying bad things about America, and as he said, nobody should be able to do that. Well, in fact, he's got it backwards. Everybody should.
Definitely. And we are out of time, Michael, but it's good to have you with us. I'm sure we'll be talking to you a lot again from Talk Media News. Thank you. Have a great weekend. I'm Leslie Marshall, and Mark Grimaldi is our executive producer. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back with you next week. And stay cool, stay safe, and stay sane.
You probably haven't heard about it, but there's another mass migration coming across the U.S.-Mexico border. However, these are not Central American families fleeing horrific conditions back home, only to be separated, incarcerated, traumatized, and demonized by the Trump gang for seeking humanitarian asylum in our country. Rather, these migrants are going the other way, from the USA into Mexican border towns, where they're welcomed with open arms instead of armed guards. They're mostly working-class people seeking relief from our nation's unaffordable, no-care health care system. As many as 6,000 a day travel to towns like Los Algodones, across from Yuma, Arizona, to get medical services and prescription drugs that are priced out of their reach here in the U.S. Nicknamed Molar City, Los Algodones has more dentists per capita than anywhere else in the world. Quality dental work in Mexico averages 2/3 less than it costs here. This is because the health system there prioritizes care over profits. Start with professional education, which is tuition-free in Mexico, meaning dentists and other healthcare providers don't have to jack up prices to cover a crushing load of student debt. Also, Mexico's universal tax-paid healthcare system doesn't saddle patients with exorbitantly expensive insurance bureaucracies. It's a system that's open, affordable, and accessible to all, the opposite of ours, which is why hordes of U.S. working-class people go south to find care. As a Truth Out article reports, U.S. citizens seeking health care can park in Yuma for $5, walk across the border, get the help they need, and come back for dinner. This is Jim Hightower saying, instead of building a senseless border wall to keep people out of the U.S., our leaders ought to be looking across the...
I read the news today, oh boy.
It's time for Nicole Sandler's What's News from NicoleSandler.com and the Progressive Voices Network.
The House of Representatives did eventually vote to condemn Donald Trump's racist remarks, telling 4 minority freshman congressmen to, quote, go back to their ancestral countries. The vote came down almost on strict party lines, with only 4 Republicans crossing over to vote with all the Democrats, and the lone independent, now Justin Amash, voting yes as well. The disorder in the House began Tuesday morning when Nancy Pelosi introduced a resolution to condemn Trump for his, quote, racist comments that have legitimized fear and hatred of new Americans and people of color.
Every single member of this institution, Democratic and Republican, should join us in condemning the president's racist tweets. To do anything less would be a shocking rejection of our values and a shameful abdication of our oath of office to protect the American people. I urge a unanimous vote and yield back the balance of my...
I was just going to give the General Speaker of the House if she would like to rephrase that comment.
I had cleared my remarks with a parliamentarian before I read them.
And take it. And I ask the words be taken down. I make a point of order. The gentlewoman's words are unparliamentary and are ready to be taken down.
So, as you heard, Republicans tried to take down her words. Representative Emanuel Cleaver, who was presiding over the chamber, threw up his hands and abandoned his post in protest. Eventually, after some back and forth, the House voted against striking Pelosi's remarks and restored her ability to speak. And that cleared the way for the Tuesday evening vote condemning Trump's racist remarks. All the Democrats voted in favor of the resolution, with 4 Republicans breaking with the Mad King. Kellyanne Conway on Tuesday followed the president's advice, telling her to ignore a congressional subpoena and just not show up to a scheduled hearing, which is exactly what she did. Instead, she chose to go before reporters outside because doing so in an air-conditioned briefing room in the White House for that express purpose would be too reasonable. But I digress. She tried to turn the tables on one reporter in a way that in any normal White House would have the person in her position fired immediately for just such a question.
The president was not telling these four congresswomen to return to their supposed countries of origin. To which countries was he referring?
What's your ethnicity?
Why is that relevant?
No, because I'm asking you a question. My ancestors are from Ireland and Italy.
My own ethnicity is not relevant to the question I'm asking.
No, it is, because you're asking about, he said originally. He said originally from.
I'm asking.
And you know everything he has said since, and to have a full conversation.
Are you saying that the president was telling the Palestinian...
The president's already commented on that.
To go back to the occupied territory.
The president's already commented on that, and he said a lot about this since that one tweet. No, he's put out a lot of tweets, and he made himself available to all of you yesterday. Yes, he has. He's tired. A lot of us are sick and tired of this country, of America coming last to people who swore an oath of office.
So the ball is now in the Democrats' court. They must show the nation and the world that the House of Representatives has oversight over the executive branch and that they intend to exercise it. A good way to do that would be to open an official impeachment inquiry, but that's just my suggestion. And we do have more along those lines, so stay tuned. Meanwhile, the House will be voting Wednesday on holding Attorney General Bill Barr and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross in contempt for their failure to comply with congressional subpoenas. Sound familiar? Now, Wednesday was a day that Robert Mueller was originally scheduled to testify before Congress, prompting Trump to schedule one of his Nuremberg rallies that night. Mueller's testimony has been moved to next Wednesday, the 24th, so one wonders if he'll schedule another distraction rally for that night. And finally, if Pelosi won't do it, just call Al. I know it's a different Al Green. Congressman Al Green of Texas filed articles of impeachment against Donald Trump on Tuesday night, triggering a contentious vote in the coming days to confront an issue that has bitterly divided the Democratic Party. The Texas congressman who notified the leaders of his decision on Tuesday said the House must impeach Trump for racist remarks suggesting four minority congressmen go back to their ancestral countries, as well as other comments made in the past.
Impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, of high misdemeanors. Resolved that Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is unfit to be president.
Green's move will force House Democrats to deal with the issue in the near term because of the privileged nature of the resolution. Under House rules, Democratic leadership can decide to try to table the impeachment articles, effectively killing them for now and risk criticism from the party's liberal base. It can refer them to the House Judiciary Committee for possible consideration or allow the vote to proceed. If leaders do nothing, Green could force a vote on the impeachment articles in 2 legislative days. And that's just a bit of what's news for now. I'm Nicole Sandler. If you appreciate these reports in the Nicole Sandler Show, I hope you'll consider making a contribution. My work is 100% listener supported, and I need your help. Find out more at NicoleSandler.com/donate.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe it. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
No, you know what's racist to me? When somebody goes out and says the horrible things about our country, the people of our country, that are anti-Semitic, that hate everybody, that speak with scorn and hate, that, to me, is really a very dangerous thing. I think these 4 congressmen, and I could say some worse than others, but if you look at the statements they've made, when they call the people of our country and our country garbage, when they hit Israel the way they've hit Israel, so hard, so horrible, I think to me that's a disgrace, and we should never forget it. We're dealing with people that hate our country. The First Lady feels very strongly about our country. The First Lady thinks that it's horrible what they've said about Israel and horrible what they've said about our country, these congresswomen. They can't call our country and our people garbage. They can't be anti-Semitic. They can't talk about evil Jews, which is what they say, evil Jews. That's what the First Lady
Oh, my God. This is amazing week. I don't even know if you remember everything that happened. Okay, that was just minutes ago. That's him leaving to go to his golf course in New Jersey. He had given a press spray to reporters in the Oval Office, and then he had to stop again and talk some more about. And every time they open him up, he's accusing the four congresswomen, the squad, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Rashida Tlaib. He's accusing all of them of being anti-Semitic. And now he's doubling down. They talk about America is garbage, and you can't go around saying evil Jews. They never said any of that. He's making this crap up. If anybody ever insinuated that there was something untoward or not optimal about being a Jewish American, it was him. Let's not forget, okay, he's the one that stood there and said, I wouldn't be surprised if George Soros, which is code word in Q-land for Jews, right? He said, I wouldn't be surprised if George Soros was organizing these caravans. Not only did he say it, but then right after that, there was a shooting in a Pittsburgh synagogue across the street from my sister-in-law. Literally across the street from my sister-in-law. I just, what is wrong with, everybody's got such a short freaking memory. I mean, this is just insane.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. No, I don't know who, but I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people say yes.
That was a question about, are you saying that George Soros organized these caravans? I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people say yes. And then we had this gunman go into a synagogue in Pittsburgh and just shoot the place up and kill people. They never said the things he's saying. They said Ilhan Omar never praised Al-Qaeda, number one. Number two, she called them evil. She called them terrorists. She has a problem with Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia funded the 19 hijackers who threw planes into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. She has a problem with their funding of terrorism. Who doesn't? Donald Trump. Donald Trump has no problem. She has a problem when they kidnap and dismember a Washington Post columnist. Who doesn't? Donald Trump doesn't have a problem with it. Doesn't even ask about it. She has a problem with authoritarian governments. She has a problem with dictators. Who doesn't? Donald Trump. He loves Kim Jong-un, loves him. He writes him beautiful letters, and then we fell in love. He loves Vladimir Putin and literally stood on a stage in Helsinki, Finland, a year ago this week, and said he denied it very strongly, and I don't see why it would have been Russia, but the intelligence community, Dan Coates said this, and Dan Coates said that, but I'm throwing in with Vlad. I'm taking Vlad's word over American intelligence agents. I'm taking Vlad's word. Kim Jong-un, he's in love with. Saudi Arabia, no problem. They dismember people and they funded that attack. 15 of the 19 hijackers on September 11th were Saudis. He has no clue what he's talking about. He has no idea. And then, you got all these Republicans that see the wisdom in the authoritarian fascist racism that he's, propounding, because they're going to bet it all on this last election, because either they're going to lose it all and they'll say, we never really supported. And, the whole thing will be turned on its head, right? No, I said he was a kook. You watch. Lindsey Graham will say, no, I said he was a race baiter. I said he was a kook. I said he was a guy that, had no idea about Christianity or anything, that my people respect. whatever. They'll just turn it all around. But the amount of excuses, it's not just excuses, it's embracing. Whoa, when they call you a racist, it's liberating.
So true. The minute you realize they're going to call you a racist no matter what you do, then it's liberating. Call me whatever you want to call me. That's how I think the other president feels.
It's liberating, everybody. It's liberating, you see. Now, I just got to go through what we went through this week. This all started last Sunday when Donald Trump woke up and had an idea that he would start a race war in this country. Seriously. That he would attack 4 Congress members because they don't agree with him. And that's all that's going on here. They just don't agree with him. And they're women of color. And they suit his purpose, the same purpose he had when he called, Mexicans rapists. The same purpose he had when he said the neo-Nazis in Charlottesville, some of them were very fine people. The same rationale he had when he had his audience chanting, build the wall, build the wall. When he had his audience chanting, CNN sucks, fake news, fake news, fake news. And then Cesar Sayak, a Trump supporter, sent pipe bombs to every media outlet he could think of. Yeah, and he's in jail now. It's the same rationale when he said, hey, if you see somebody, just punch him in the face. Remember the good old days? They'd carry him out on a stretcher, and I promise you I'll get your legal bills. And then an old white man, like an 80-year-old guy, punches an African-American kid in the face. And Donald Trump has them all chanting, USA, USA. I mean, it's just amazing, okay? He had a Muslim ban. But he's not the racist. The Muslim members of Congress, Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, they're the racists. He actually had the power and backed it up with a Muslim ban. He separates families a la Sophie's Choice movies about concentration camps in Nazi Germany. And he tried to add a citizenship question to the census and lied. And Wilbur Ross lied, and his attorney general lied, and they've been held in contempt of Congress this week. Just look at what happened. Since Sunday, when he started tweeting and starting this race war in the United States, okay, when he said, you know what, anybody that disagrees with me, and this is what he's saying, anybody that disagrees with me, I will put you in danger. You are anti-American if you're disagreeing with Trump, right? That's all he's saying. If you disagree, because Lindsey Graham said, well, a Somali wearing a MAGA hat would be okay. So this is like the Stasi in Germany. If you rat on your neighbors, you're safe. If you don't rat on your neighbors, even if you have, better Aryan qualities than Hitler himself did, we don't want to hear from. We're going to take you away too. We're going to lock you up too. And that's another one. Lock her up, using power to launch political revenge. This is not American. He is so anti-American. It's unbelievable. But this is what's gone on this week. He tweets on Sunday. John Paul Stevens, the Supreme Court justice, dies. Nobody pays any attention to it. The Cohn documents are out. Cohn's in jail. Trump's not. They did the same crime.
Clear for takeoff. The Randi Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandiRhodes.com.
Think of July, think of summer, think of celebration. And you can't have a great celebration without great food. Herky Jerky is here, and they'll help you blast off with an unbeatable July special. All month of July, they're offering one incredible deal. You buy 2 full packs of anything in Herky Jerky's online store and get a free half pack of beef Smokies. Whoa, there's a sweet $21 value that only comes once this year. No promo codes necessary, and free shipping is included. You just place your order on any 2 packs, bacon, turkey, beef, elk, buffalo, venison, or any of the award-winning sticks, and you automatically get a free half pack of beef Smokies. In the comments section, write the flavor you want for free. Mild honey, or my personal favorite, spicy jalapeno. Order today. Your package will be shipped priority mail and delivered fresh to your door. Satisfaction guaranteed. And remember, Herky Jerky is 100% beef, unlike the gas station or supermarket jerky. So visit herkyjerky.com. herkyjerky.com.
I was looking for a better way to check in on our house while I was at work, and a friend recommended Blink. I was skeptical, but decided to give it a shot, and I bought a Blink camera system. With our last security system,
false alarms, wires everywhere, and monthly fees we couldn't get out of.
My bad, but our Blink system is different. They're motion-activated cameras that work inside and outside. They're wire-free, easy to set up, and they run on 2 lithium batteries that last up to 2 years.
Total peace of mind. And Blink camera systems start at under $80 with no subscriptions.
We were on vacation, and I got an alert on my smartphone that motion was detected at our front door. I checked my Blink app, and I saw it was just my cool new device being delivered.
No, you know what's racist to me?
No new devices except Blink.
Just kidding. Not kidding.
With Blink camera systems starting under $80, home security just got easier. Go to blinkprotect.com/secure. 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 Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1917. That was the day 50,000 lumber workers across the Pacific Northwest participated in an industry-wide strike called by the industrial workers of the world. The IWW had been organizing loggers for years around wages, hours, working conditions, and camp sanitation. The IWW began building for the strike in the aftermath of the Everett Massacre the previous fall. Elizabeth Gurley Flynn started touring camps in Idaho. By March, the Wobblies established Local 500 of the Lumber Workers Industrial Union in Spokane to organize across the region. In his book, Emperor of Timber, historian Eric Loomis details the chronology of events that led to the momentous walkout. In Idaho, loggers began walking off the job in April when demands for improved bunkhouses and food, higher wages, and the 8-hour day were refused. The strike spread to Washington state, the rest of Idaho, and into Montana and Oregon. Loomis notes that by August, they made employers feel their wrath. The strike cut production by over 80% and threatened war material. Infuriated timber bosses demanded federal troops be sent in to crush the strike and IWW leaders be prosecuted for treason and sabotage. Raids and arrests were orchestrated throughout the Pacific Northwest, and the strike began to stall. After 10 weeks, the IWW called off the strike, but instructed workers to quit work after 8 hours. They continued to lead sanitation-related job actions that would substantially change conditions for the better.
50,000 lumberjacks, 50,000 packs, 50,000 dirty rolls of blankets on their backs, 50,000 minds made up to strike and strike like men. For 50 years.
Labor History in 2 brought to you.
All things Randy at randyrhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randy Rhodes Show.
President, if I may, when your supporters last night were chanting, send her back, why didn't you stop them? Why didn't you ask them to stop saying that?
Well, number one, I think I did. I started speaking very quickly. If you would have heard, there was a tremendous amount of noise and action and everything else. I started very quickly, and I think you know that. Well, I know. Maybe you're giving me too much credit. You're used to giving me too much credit.
Oh my God, he's just a bold-faced liar. I mean, does he not realize there are cameras, there are, stopwatches in this world? I don't even understand, why he thinks he can get away with saying these things when there's clearly tape of him saying, doing exactly the opposite. Every reporter that was there said he stopped. One person said he was luxuriating. That's the perfect word for what he was doing. That he was luxuriating in the chanting, that he was loving it, that he was eating it up, that he was, taken to another plane, and that he had, turned to the right and then grabbed the podium and turned to the left and, then looked at the audience. And then finally, when the chanting died down on its own, that's when he started talking again. What is it with him? I mean, it's just so disgusting that this man could be taken seriously as he calls for congressmen who simply do not agree with his policies, with his positions on a $15 minimum wage, on his positions on healthcare, destroying it and not having a replacement plan, even though this week he was supposed to come out with his healthcare plan. There is no healthcare plan. He never had a healthcare plan. He doesn't have an infrastructure plan. He doesn't have a healthcare plan. He doesn't have an immigration plan. He has nothing. That's why all of this, that's why this is happening. That's why the only way he can get people to consistently vote against their own best interests is to, spur this, hatred. He wants us to point at each other and blame each other for what he's doing to all of us except the elite, except the very wealthy, except for his rich friends. This is crazy that people are doing it, but they're doing it and they've done it before. I'm telling you, it's like this is the racism that we've had before was always kind of a dog whistle is what they called it. It's not so subtle that you can't hear it, but it's just right up there, okay? Where some people can't hear it. Some people don't see it as racism, but this is a freaking bullhorn of racism. He's putting words in the mouths of young women who never said these words. AOC never said America is garbage. She said the stuff that is being offered to working people is garbage. The policy was garbage, but he hears it as, well, it's me that she's calling. Nobody called him anything. That's the crazy part. The worst thing Ilhan Omar said was, I'm his worst nightmare. And he's like, oh yeah? Now you're an anti-Semite. But if you wear a MAGA hat and you're a Somali immigrant and you're willing to rat out your neighbors in that German of German ways, then you're fine with me. This is like ultimate tribalism. Betray your own kind and we'll spare you. This is really sick stuff. And, the reporters that were in North Carolina, you know what they did that night? Because anybody who knows history, anybody who has ever in this country been told, you know what's really interesting? The New York Times, I tweeted this out. You should read this. This is unbelievable. In the New York Times today, the New York Times, when they were reporting on this all week, they asked people if they'd ever been told to go back home to please write their story, write a story about what it is that you experienced when that 16,000 responses they got. 16,000 responses, and they printed a whole bunch of them in today's New York Times. It's unbelievable how many people got a chill down their spine because they were told to go back to where they came from by some racist SOB. Okay, well, North Carolina, the reporters were there on the ground, and they decided that they would interview this, first of all, what's his name, Brad Parscale. I think we handed him his head that night, because that night, everybody was, all tweeting about, oh my God, that sounds like Kristallnacht, or that sounded like a Hitler rally. I know, you're not supposed to invoke, but it sounded like an Adolf rally. It sounded like really un-American. It sounded really scary. It sounded really crazy. It sounded like a Salem witch trial. It sounded very bizarre to most Americans, okay? And so everybody was tweeting about, but I tweeted because Brad Parscale tweeted that Trump set a record bigly. He literally wrote the word bigly in his tweet, and that 20,000 people were in that arena in North Carolina to see Donald Trump. So very quickly, I Googled the Williams Arena. Now there's two of them, so make sure you do the North Carolina, Greenville, North Carolina one. And you will see that the capacity for that arena is 8,000 people. And there were lots of empty seats in that arena. Who cares? But why do they have to lie about things so easily fact-checked that I could do it in my pajamas? Why? Why would they? It's just so sick. Okay. So the reporters were talking to the people in Greenville, asking them, what is the deal with this? And I swear to God, here's what they found. Okay. This is just one example. This is the Huffington Post. They went around, they talked to a whole bunch of people. Mark and Nancy Dawson were two people that were there, and they think Muslims should be removed from the United States. Mark was wearing a camouflage Trump 2020 baseball cap cap and a T-shirt emblazoned with the words, United States of America, love it or leave it. Let's see. How did that become a T-shirt that Mark got? Yeah. See what I mean? She said, I think Muslims should be kicked out of the country because Sharia law is not conducive to the Constitution, period. You watch Janine Pirro much? Is that what your freaking issue is? Just disgusting. And then she said, well, I don't hate them. I just think, okay, there's a lie. She doesn't think. She said, I don't hate them. I just think they should go back where they can be together and have their own country and their own religion. Do you have any earthly idea how many religions are practiced in these here United States? Do you have any idea how many people don't practice religion in these United States? I mean, what is with them making these proclamations about where certain religions are welcome and where they're not, where no religion is okay and where it's not? What is the deal with this? The crowd was almost all white. And every scholar of fascism from Yale University to NYU all weighed in and said he has created a core of supporters fanatically loyal to him who turn his racist messages into group ritual.
To speak to Randy, call now, you bastards. 561-270-3844.
Hello.
Randy Rhodes, Air Force.
If you need anything from a simple home repair to a major remodel, you need to know about Home Advisor. It's a totally free service that instantly connects you with top local service pros.
Home Advisor is a very easy way to find a home contractor, and for me, it's the only way.
You can use Home Advisor for everything. Your house cleaning, your painting.
Electricians, plumbers, handymen. We've had nothing but fabulous every single time.
Just select the type of work you need done, and Home Advisor's Pro Finder technology instantly finds top pros in your area. You can read customer reviews of the pros, even use their cost guide to find out what hundreds of other repair and improvement projects cost in your area.
I think everybody should use Home Advisor. In fact, I tell everybody to use Home Advisor.
Home Advisor is a total solution to any type of work you would ever want to do around your house.
And best of all, it's completely free. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
Whether you're listening to me, Mark Levine, every Thursday,
or me, Leslie Marshall, each Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday,
you can hear us from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the Progressive Voices Network.
Here's a sample of what you'll hear.
The 400th year of the Virginia House of Delegates was not a very proud moment for our institution. We just got back from our special session on guns. You may recall we had a horrific massacre in Virginia Beach, in my state, my Commonwealth. And the governor of Virginia ordered us back into special session to do something about guns. We all had different ideas. I supported a number of ideas, including universal background checks, keeping loaded guns away from toddlers, which I don't think is a good idea. Restricting guns to the kind that are used by hunters and for self-defense, and taking military-style weapons off the street. That was my bill. Bills to require lost and stolen guns to be reported. Bills to require that if you have committed a crime of domestic violence, you shouldn't have access to your firearm. And if you threaten to kill someone, bills to let us take your gun away through protective orders. Bills that had been introduced in Florida and passed, even in conservative places. Actually, my bill, part of my bill was to ban bump stocks. Even Donald Trump was okay with banning these mechanisms that convert a semi-automatic firearm to very close to a machine gun. So, would the Republicans support any of that? No. Did they vote it all down? No, not quite. They simply adjourned the session. The total amount of time that the bills were debated was precisely 0 minutes and 0 seconds. What? We did give a few speeches at the outset, we Democrats, just general speeches on gun violence, but the bills themselves were tabled in about 10 seconds, all in block. They wouldn't even do it, had the decency to let us vote to each one by one. And the Republicans put off the session until after the election. So Virginia Republicans are making a very clear bet. It's their bet that the people of Virginia don't mind gun violence too much. Don't think we should do anything about gun violence. We should simply allow everyone to have easy access to guns. Al-Qaeda, sure. Mentally ill, sure. Mass murderers, sure. Gang violence, sure. Someone who has beaten up and almost killed his wife, sure. Everyone. So is a
Call in, connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
I mean, he said he'd bring down the cost of prescription drugs. He said it would make your head spin how much he would bring them down. And over 2,000 of them have gone up in double digits. He hasn't done his job. He said he'd make us safer, right, by getting out of the Iranian agreement. And now you have Iran doing things like enriching uranium right now as we speak. That doesn't make us safer. He said that he was going to do an major infrastructure package, build things. He said that on election night, and he hasn't done anything. So I think one of the jobs of our candidate is going to be not only to call him on the horrible, horrific, racist things he says, to bring this country together, but it is also to create literally an alternative agenda so people understand there is another path forward. He broke promises to you. If you voted for him, maybe you did it because you wanted change, because you felt left out of this economy. And there's people all over the Midwest that felt like that. But it's not coming true, and here's the way we can do it.
She's right, and I hope that more people could repeat that. I really do. I've been saying it all week. I've been tweeting it all week, that the reason why this is all so ugly, really, and so tribal and so divisive is simple. He has nothing. He has nothing to show you. Steel jobs are not coming back. Coal jobs are not coming back. Lordstown GM plant closed down, moved to Mexico. Immigration is through the roof. There's complete and total humanitarian crisis at the border. Humanitarian crisis at the border. We just gave $4.6 billion to this man. He said he was conducting raids over the weekend. Never happened. Before July 4th, he said he was conducting raids over that weekend. Nothing happened. Said he was going to do an infrastructure. He could do that so easy. It would take him 10 minutes, right? He was going to say, and he saved it for a second year because it was so easy. He thought in his first year, he would save it. Never happened. Said he had a replacement plan for Obamacare that would be cheaper and cover more people and have the same benefits. A beautiful, beautiful healthcare plan. Never produced it. The man has nothing. So what does he do? He separates families. He runs, private detention centers, gives $700 a day to these private companies, families separated. Mike Pence went down to the border this week, and I bet everybody forgot, looking at men in cages that hadn't had a shower somewhere between 20 and 30 days, hadn't had a stinking shower, refuses to look at them, refuses to talk to them, refuses to make eye contact with them. I mean, this was so sick. We had a Supreme Court justice die. We got the Cohen documents released yesterday by the court. Hope Hicks lied to Congress. Michael Cohen, I mean, it's so hard. I mean, he's a thug too. He's a little piece of crap lawyer. He's the kind of lawyer that everybody hates lawyers because of, Michael Cohen, okay? He's sitting there in jail, all right, albeit in Otisville. He's sitting in a, first class, high quality white collar jail for 3 years. And Donald Trump committed the same damn crime, and Bill Barr ends the inquiry. It's done. It's over. We have the documents. Obviously, Donald Trump lied on Air Force One. Obviously, Donald Trump directed, just like Michael Cohen testified, directed Michael Cohen to make those payments. Obviously, Hope Hicks was on the phone and they're texting back and forth, sending emails back and forth about whether or not the lawyer for Stormy Daniels and the lawyer for Karen McDougal are going to accept the money and whether or not they're going to buy the life rights for Karen I mean, it's so sick. They're all doing it. And the only person sitting in jail is Michael Cohen, not the president. Barr is very busy killing all these investigations, using the office of the Attorney General to be Trump's mob attorney, not the attorney for the American people. In fact, Bill Barr, his Justice Department is fighting to repeal and overturn Obamacare as being unconstitutional with no replacement, no nothing. The House, meanwhile, is passing a million bills. They passed a $15 minimum wage yesterday. And Mark Meadows is already penned an op-ed, which I guarantee you was written by some lobbyist for corporate America, that he's already published, saying no raise for you. If we give the American people $15 an hour as a guaranteed federal minimum wage, the economy will tank. Telling people, you know, all we could do is transfer wealth to the very wealthy Americans. That's what we can do. But we can't give you $15 an hour for your labor. We can't. That's twice what you get now. Now think about that. If you had two jobs because you can't support a family on one minimum wage job anymore in this country, so you have 2 and 3 jobs, well, of course, it's going to take unemployment down to record lows, but it's also possible that you could get rid of one of those jobs if we raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And how do you pay for it? You repeal these stupid tax cuts. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. It's so stupid. Congress condemned a racist president this week. They held Wilbur Ross. They held the Attorney General of the United States in contempt this week for lying about a citizenship question on the census and why they wanted to put it in there. Clearly, they wanted to undercount Hispanic people. This is fascism. This is crazy. Everybody, the scholars of fascism, who have been trying to ring the alarm bells ever since he started in 2015 with the very first attacks on Hispanic people, the very first attacks on Muslims, the very first attacks on Jews. Don't you remember he tweeted Hillary Clinton out with a Star of David and money? This is all projection. He's saying he's found himself 2 Muslim women who got themselves elected, duly elected, as the first female Muslim congresswomen who have done nothing to him except disagree with him. Okay. And he has used them as a target. But before they were there, before they existed, he caused complete and total chaos with a Muslim ban. And before they were elected, and before Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is Puerto Rican, was elected, he literally said Hispanics are rapists. They don't send their very best. The anti-Semitic stuff, he started it with Hillary Clinton. He tweeted out a Star of David with cash. Then he said that George Soros was organizing these caravans. And then a Jewish synagogue gets shot up in Pittsburgh because they believed him. They actually attacked a Jewish organization that actually helps immigrants resettle. Because Jews were immigrants once, and they know how it goes. So they help people to assimilate. They help people to settle in. They help people find jobs. They help people find housing. Oh, what a terrible thing. Those damn Jews. But everyone who's looked at this said this is the face of evil. Journalists, this is a quote. This is a guy from Yale University. He said, I'm not easily shocked, but we are facing an emergency. This was on Twitter last night, Jason Stanley's Twitter. He's a Yale University professor, and he's the author of a book called How Fascism Works. He wrote, journalists must not get away with sugarcoating this. This is the face of evil. And then a history professor at NYU who's an expert on fascism and propaganda, she said, what I told you, Trump has created a core of supporters fanatically loyal to him who turn his latest racist messages into group rituals, chants and slogans, who hate the people he tells them to hate.
For a commercial commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience. Visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
Oh, wow. No, I'm not kidding. This is an oh, wow. I have tried something so amazing, and if you have 10 minutes, you can do it too, and you can look so much younger. And I'm telling you, in 10 minutes, not weeks, not days, not months, 10 minutes. It's a magical little drop or two of this serum called Plexiderm. It's clinically studied. It's a serum that you put just a dab under your eyes, and it removes the bags and wrinkles in minutes. Minutes, I'm telling you. If you look older and a little tired because you got crow's feet or wrinkles or the under eye bag, give me 10 minutes with Plexiderm and you will look younger. You will look younger. It's just amazing. You could see it for yourself. You could watch a real video with real people and see how fast this thing works. Under eye bags are going to disappear. These results are backed up by a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. So just go try Plexiderm at tryplexiderm.com and use promo code SEXYLIBERAL for my discount. Try it. You're going to love this.
I was a diet soda junkie. I drank 10 cans a day.
Kara Golden, founder of Hint Water, with an invitation to switch from diet sodas and sugary drinks to Hint for 30 days.
I worked out and dieted, but I did not feel healthy. Then it hit me. After every diet soda, I craved sweets. Those diet sweeteners were making me eat more. I stopped diet sodas cold turkey and switched to water. My energy returned and I lost the weight, but plain water was boring. So I added fruit to liven it up. But when I looked for flavored water in stores, they all had sugar or diet sweeteners. So I started Hint, fruit-infused water with no sugar, no sweeteners, and no calories. Just great taste. See for yourself. Switch from diet soda and sugary drinks to Hint.
Right now, you can buy 2 cases of Hint Water and get a 3rd case free and free shipping. Go to drinkhint.com/radio. drinkhint.com/radio. That's drinkhint.com/radio.
Hi, I'm Laura Flanders of The Laura Flanders Show. Watch every week on Free Speech TV, Link TV, YouTube, or if you're in New York, CUNY TV. Prefer to listen? Subscribe to the free podcast at lauraflanders.org. I end every week with a commentary. I call it the F word. Here's this week's. Kali Acunio asks an important question. Where would we be as a world today if people of the left had been as organized in 2008 when the financial crash hit as they'd been in 1980 before 30 years of divide-and-rule neoliberalism? Acunio, a co-founder and co-coordinator of Cooperation Jackson in Mississippi, asked the question this past Friday at a panel we were both part of at the annual Left Forum. It resonated with me, especially this weekend, as I took part in 2 of New York City's 3 LGBTQIA marches. Lesbians and self-described dykes have for years marched on the day before the big parade. The Dyke March is always a raucous, disobedient alternative to the staid and commercial official parade. This year, self-defined queers held a 3rd march and rally, too, for everyone seeking to reclaim some of Stonewall's more radical and liberatory history. Multiple marches spring from multifaceted history. After all, what's remembered as the Stonewall Uprising took place over lots of nights with lots of different factions. 50 years ago this year, things kicked off riotous early in the morning of June 28th when fed-up patrons, mostly young trans women, butch dykes, and drag queens of color, fought off a police raid and refused arrest. That night, a crowd gathered, curious, excited, and eager to be part of something. The night after that, when most of the most famous pictures were snapped, an even bigger group showed up and faced off against an even bigger mass of cops. By the 3rd day, the village was in uproar, with more protest and organizing and also a backlash. More conservative gays, who'd been lobbying politely for their rights for years, pled for quiet. Quote, "We homosexuals plead with our people to please maintain peaceful and quiet conduct on the streets of the village." The sign on the boarded-up broken bar window can be seen now on Wikipedia. That's the tension that's been with us ever since. Our rights to be granted by the powerful to the deserving few, contingent on their obedience, someone's convenience, and adherence to the prevailing conventions. Or our rights, rather, as revolutionaries of very many stripes have said over very many generations, unalienable, endowed at birth, which is to say, unconditional. We'd have fewer marches if we had more agreement. Meanwhile, I ask myself Kali's question in a slightly amended form. Where would we be as a world today if more people were comfortable with being just a little?
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Rabbi Avi Olitsky, who's joining us, who wrote an op-ed about needing to take down the temperature in our political discourse. Rabbi, thanks for joining us. Tell us your reaction to those chants that we were talking about last night.
It's pretty terrifying. Thank you for having me. It's pretty terrifying. The idea of this hate that's being fomented, being carried out to Trump supporters, to the president's supporters, it feels like it's quite viral.
Quite viral. And your community sort of relishing in this moment, it to come together, hurting, responding. What are the emotions like today?
Sure, the emotions are very high. I posted my op-ed, which was a follow-up to a previous post on Facebook yesterday, and the vitriol that I experienced, the support on one side, the hate on the other, it really doesn't matter. What's happening is this is a conversation about the Jewish community being used as a political football, and it's a way to I heard you say earlier, race bait and garner support in a way that it's really terrifying. I would also add, when you asked about the chanting at the rally, look, Congresswoman Omar and I don't always see eye to eye. I've been publicly critical about her stance on Israel and her comments, and I'm going to be speaking publicly out against the pro-BDS resolution that just was put out there. But beyond that, I still can't sit or stand silently while our sitting president issues such racist rhetoric and puts it out there in a way that garners a community to come behind it and spreads racism even further and louder.
Rabbi, it's Terry Moran. If I can call on your professional wisdom here, what's happening in your judgment as you look across and hear these cries to send this Congresswoman back and the divisions that are opening up? What's your take on it? Have you got any special take from your position as the leader of your faith community?
This is a very eerie wave of similar situations in history, which I'm sure you're alluding to, be that Nazi Germany or elsewhere, where people are coming together and coming out of the woodwork to glom on to these ideas of hate and saying, you know what, I could be publicly hateful, I could be publicly loud, and I don't need to shy away from that.
Yeah, this was an escalation. There is no question. Trump has all, people want to say that he talks in code words or dog. No. Trump called Mexicans rapists and criminals. Trump said a judge of Mexican descent who was born in Indiana couldn't do his job because of his heritage. That is the very definition of racism, okay? He has said that George Soros has financed the caravans. He's tweeted out the Jewish star and money over Hillary Clinton's face, which is rabid anti-Semitism. He's attacked Muslims with the full force of the presidency by instituting an illegal and unconstitutional Muslim ban. He tried to get this ban through the court system. How many times? 3-4 times. And every time he would try to do it, they would say it's unconstitutional. The man doesn't speak in code. The man speaks in tropes. Okay, and this go back to where you came from thing is just another one of those. This isn't code, but it was an escalation to see that audience. And when the reporters were in North Carolina and they were able to quiz the members of the audience who were chanting this and ask them why they were doing it. And the saddest thing, there were two things that were really creepy. One was that little girl. Do you see that little blonde girl? Really cute little girl. She, the peer pressure of all these adults saying, send her back, then the little girl started saying it too. Now that's poison. That's child abuse. And then there was a bunch of people in the audience with, the QAnon crap going on. And they held up an infant baby that had a big Q on the back of their onesie. That's like child abuse too. I mean, the poisoning of children's minds is just unbelievable. And I have to say that when the reporters that were there, they were quizzing the people in the audience. I told you that at least, I think Muslims should be kicked out of the country because Sharia law is not conducive to the Constitution. Then you had another one named Bud Harrell, which sounds like somebody I worked for. It better not be. He said, Islam's not a real religion. Islam's not a real religion. It's a religion of wars, is what it is. Read the Quran. I read a little bit, and all I've seen is hateful stuff in there. Vile, hateful stuff. And also I see, just like what's happening in Europe, they're trying to do here. They're invading our country and get enough people in to have voting power to take over and control our country. And that's what it is. It's an invasion. So this is part of the fascist Great Replacement conspiracy theory, right? Jews will not replace us. Now, it happened to be another day of the week, and he decided to revert, against, he stopped being anti-Semitic for a minute, saying George Soros is organizing the caravans and tweeting out anti-Semitic things about Hillary Clinton. Now he's moved on to hating Muslims, right? And the Muslim ban is just a return to that. And now they're repeating that. So whoever Donald Trump tells these people to hate on any given day, they will fall in line, and that is fascism. That's what happens. It's a cult of personality where no matter what the leader tells you to do, you just do it. You hate the people that the leader tells you to hate. It's the leader-follower relationship of fascism. That is what it is, okay? There was a military veteran. This really hurts me. Brian Innes. He was from Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. He said he supported the 2016 Muslim ban. He wants Muslims banned from this country. That's 1.7 billion people you're talking about there. He said all of them should be banned from entering the United States. He said hardly no terror attacks being performed in the world by Christians. What? I wouldn't say it's called profiling, but you have to direct the issue where it's coming from, and that's where it's coming from. And then they went on to attack Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ayanna Pressley, and they said telling people of color to go back where they came from, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. It takes your breath away. This is a real escalation. And people are, people see it, people feel it, people know it. A lot of stuff happened this week. Some of it was really good stuff. I mean, the House passed a $15 minimum wage. The Senate will never take it up, obviously. The House has passed a number of bills that would improve the quality of our political life and would improve the quality of our financial life. They have done a health care plan. They have done a clean voting act. They have done something to try and take the money out of politics. They've tried to do something on voter registration, same day, and access to the polling places, paper ballots, all kinds of things. None of it has a prayer in the Senate because Mitch McConnell is he's a lapdog. He's just all about tax cuts and Kavanaugh, and that was it. I mean, literally, we traded any progress in this country for tax cuts for the wealthy and a guy who was accused of raping college girls on the Supreme Court. That's the trade, and that's all that's happened. And Trump has absolutely nothing else to tell the American people that he's accomplished or offered. No new fence has been built. None. No new wall has been built. No miles of wall have been built. The man is a complete and utter failure, but he is a demagogue. He is a cult of personality that can actually sell this to people that I will continue to do absolutely nothing for you, but I will hate all the right people. But he loves all the wrong people. Even if you think he hates all the right people, he embraces the people that attacked this nation.
Just now, President Putin denied having anything to do with the election interference in 2016. Every U.S. intelligence agency has concluded that Russia did. Who do you believe? Would you now, with the whole world watching, tell President Putin, would you denounce what happened in 2016, and would you warn him to never do it again?
So let me just say that we have two thoughts. You have groups that are wondering why the FBI never took the server.
What?
Haven't they taken the server? Why was the FBI told to leave the office of the Democratic National Committee? I've been wondering that. I've been asking that for months and months, and I've been tweeting it out and calling it out on social media. Where is the server? I want to know, where is the server, and what is the server saying? They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be.
Are you serious over here? Are you serious? The man loves a freaking dictator. He loves Kim Jong-un, who runs a national gulag and starves his own people. What's wrong with you?
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
This is Richard Painter with this week's Politics Podcast. We've had an eventful week in the continuing efforts to assure that our country is run according to the rule of law, not just the will of Donald Trump. First, the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, in a decision that I believe is very, very wrong, has decided that the state of Maryland and the District of Columbia do not have standing to sue President Trump under the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. The Federal District Court in Maryland had ruled that the state of Maryland and the District of Columbia did have standing to sue, and the Federal District Court...
And then vote out articles of impeachment on the floor. And my last observation about the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. Speaker Pelosi is one of the House of Representatives. It consists of, I believe, 435 members, Democrats and Republicans. She has one vote. Speaker Pelosi has no business telling members of the United States House of Representatives of either party how to vote, whether she's right or wrong on an immigration bill. She has no business telling AOC, a congresswoman from New York, how to vote. That's between her and the members of her district. The Speaker of the United States House of Representatives should not run the impeachment process, should not be telling the members of the Democratic caucus how to vote on the matter of impeachment. It is for each member of the United States House of Representatives to read the Mueller report, to read the Constitution of the United States, and decide on the merits whether this president has committed high crimes and
You, at this very moment, are listening to an incredible radio station that supports The Rick Unger Show and real political conversations. That is something so rare in the American media today. We thank them for carrying this show and investing in rational radio. But not everybody can listen.
Now, the top of the hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn presents the Green News Report.
32 states will see heat indexes above 100. 200 million people will be feeling the heat and the humidity.
Yet another dangerous heat wave broils the U.S.
Broiled U.S. Sounds delicious.
Are we now in a pattern of continually breaking these climate records?
Yeah, I hate to say that we told you so, but we told you so.
America to see off-the-charts heat in coming decades. Plus, Trump administration moves to protect polluting industries from the tyranny of local control.
All of those stories and more straight ahead. From BradBlog.com, I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
Stand by for 6 minutes of independent green news, politics, analysis, and snarky comment.
The Trump administration may go down as one of the truly great environmental administrations. Nobody will believe that.
Because it's a lie. Hey, who knew? Senator James Inhofe is still alive. Go figure. This is your Green News Report. Okay, Desi Doyen, I got to play Michael Mann's clip again here because...
I hate to say that we told you so, but we told you so. We predicted this decades ago.
Yep, he did, they did, and I wonder how many people will be listening to him now that they will be broiling for the next several days.
Yep, as we go to air, cities around the nation are implementing emergency measures to deal with yet another dangerous, potentially record-setting heat wave across most of the U.S.
Who could have predicted it?
We told you so.
Now, of course, there is no analysis yet of this heat wave's relationship to climate change, but it does fit the pattern of global warming making heat waves increasingly more frequent, longer, and more intense. So keep that in mind for this next story. If we do little or nothing to cut our greenhouse gas emissions, most of the United States will see twice as many extreme heat days within the next 20 or 30 years, underscoring that climate change is a growing public health threat. According to a new study released this week, the number of days when the heat index, that's the feels-like combination of heat and humidity, when the heat index soars above 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, will double within the next 20 years. And heat waves will go from lasting days to lasting weeks. Some U.S. cities will even see off-the-charts heat days of as much as 127 degrees, which is beyond the current heat index. According to climate scientist Michael Mann in an interview with Euronews, that's what we'll see if we don't move quickly to phase out fossil fuels.
What we think of as unprecedented extreme record heat today, the latest studies show that if we continue on this path, we continue to burn fossil fuels for decades to come, then the hottest day we've ever experienced will be a typical summer day in the future.
Well, I hate to say it, but he did tell us so.
He did. Now, that study also includes a tool to look up your location, along with direct actions that every community can take to cut their emissions and get ready for hotter temperatures. We'll have that link at our website, greennews.bradblog.com.
And you're going to have to do something with all that time you're going to be spending indoors in the air condition because you can't even go outside.
Extreme heat, of course, brings other consequences. A different new study this week finds that the amount of land burned by wildfires in the United States has doubled over the last 30 years because of hotter temperatures. It's even worse in California. Wildfires there burn 5 times more land today than they did in the 1970s, thanks to global warming.
Even though we've cleaned up the forests and swept the floor and done all that stuff that Donald Trump told us to do?
Yeah.
Wow.
According to the lead author, quote, each degree of warming causes way more fire than the previous degree of warming did.
We got to do more sweeping.
In other news, the Trump Environmental Protection Agency plans to introduce a major policy change to curtail the ability of local communities to appeal pollution permits granted to industries in their area. The EPA's move weakens rules that for decades have given locals a voice in determining how much pollution industrial facilities are legally allowed to release into their neighborhoods. But polluters, however, will still be allowed to continue using that appeals process to obtain permission to pollute more.
So the people on the ground in the small towns, the local governments, they will have less say about all of this?
Exactly.
So I beg of you, I plead, next time Democrats are in charge and you hear Republicans talking about how small government is better, how the people on the ground know best, please keep in mind they don't actually mean it.
And the U.S. Forest Service has also unveiled a plan to bypass a major environmental law that had required extensive environmental review before starting any new logging, road building, or mining projects in the public's forests. The new policy change includes a loophole that allows logging companies to clear-cut up to 7 miles of the public's forests with no environmental review or even public notice, meaning residents won't even know it's happening until the logging trucks show up.
You know, if you just cut down all the forests, you cut down on forest fires. Just saying. For much more on all of these stories and the ones we couldn't get to today, please check out our website at greennews.bradblog.com. Hey, it's hot outside. You're going to have to stay inside and do something. Find us, follow us, and share us planet-wide on the Facebooks and the Twitters at...
Mary had a little lamb. The fourth, we believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Wait. What? What happened? How did you do that?
I went and I got a previous recording of one of the shows when the instant replay was working, and then I put it over the top of the TriCaster machine sound.
Oh, that's so cool, Brett. You rock. That's awesome.
We were missing it too much, and Brett's like, I have an idea. I said, then do it.
Yeah, for those of you who think something is missing, it is. It's a little naked, the show. It's a little nude, a little stark raving nude. Because the machine that usually sits right here, Stephanie's got one too. You've seen them. They're called instant replays, and you press the button, and your sound effects are right there. So ours broke, and we're trying to save the money to repair it. I did order a new hard drive, which arrived. Yay. And then next week, believe it or not, I won't be here Monday and Tuesday. I wish I could tell you why I won't be here, but I can't tell you why I won't be here. But just trust me that it's work. This is all work related.
I was about to say, make sure you say it's nothing bad, because by you saying that, it's like, oh my God, what's happening to her?
Oh no, if it was bad, I would love to tell you. I'd love to tell you bad.
Oh
bad
yeah, of course you would.
Of course. Well, I mean, who loves to complain more than we do? I was just as a group. Just think about it. Think about what our day was like conversationally, okay? I just won't even go there, but just think about what we had to do with both Scotty and my intestines. I mean, really, who doesn't love to complain? Who doesn't love that? Especially now. Stress, just eat it. But this has nothing to do with it. This is, I'm doing a work trip, okay? This has to do with work. I wish I could tell you. I can't tell you. I hate that I can't tell you. But if this works out, believe me, my instant replay machine will be repaired. I'm just saying it will be repaired on Tuesday. So, Roy, see, that's in the instant replay too. Roy, he's coming on Tuesday. I'll be back on Wednesday. Believe me, I'll be back on Wednesday. Wednesday, Mueller testifies, and there is nothing and no one that could keep us away from this here studio on Wednesday. That's just a gimme, right? So, but I'm coming back very late Tuesday night. So I'm leaving tomorrow. I'll be back late Tuesday night. We'll put best ofs for you up there. And I just need to say, please do support the show because we're trying to build something. We're trying to build something bigger, badder, better for everybody. And so maybe next Wednesday I'll be able to divulge because I think it's super exciting. I think it's really cool and really good, and I think everybody will just adore. But in the meantime, I had to, I got to fix this machine. So I thought, well, if I'm leaving, then Roy can come in and, I was going to say piddle around the studio, but then he won't show up. He'll tell me, oh, what I do, this engineering that I do, is piddling. No, Roy's a serious dude. Roy has built every single radio studio in South Florida and beyond. My entire career. So we're really lucky that Roy loves us and that he'll engineer our studio. So he'll be here on Tuesday. I'll be back on Wednesday. Okay. Meantime, here's something that will cheer you up. Here, the next few stories I think are very happy ones. So Trump is very busy telling Ilhan Omar to go back home. She did go back home. Yep. She went back home, and home for her is the Twin Cities. Home for her is Minneapolis-St. Paul. And so she arrived last night in the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, and this is what happened when the doors opened. Welcome home, Ilhan.
Welcome home, Ilhan. Welcome home, Ilhan. Welcome home, Ilhan. Welcome home, Ilhan. Welcome home, Ilhan. Welcome home, Ilhan. Welcome home, Ilhan. Welcome home, Ilhan.
Oh, that lasted longer than his chant. Our chant was longer and bigger and badder and better than Trump's. It's always going to be that way. Everything is bigger, badder, longer over here than it is over there. Trust me on that. So That was great. And it just, everybody started retweeting that. It made its way around there. And then finally, before I went to sleep last night, it finally made the TV. But thank God, people are rallying around her, not because they agree with every position she's ever going to take on every issue that comes down the pike, or that she's going to agree with every vote she ever casts for every thing that she, introduces. No. They support her because she's being attacked by a man who hates this country and only appreciates Americans who agree with him. He is not the president of all America. He's not the president of all Americans. She's obviously an American. The 4 congresswomen are obviously American. They were all born here with the exception of Ilhan Omar, who is living proof that the American dream is not dead. And Donald Trump literally ran on hating America. He literally ran on the American dream being dead. He literally ran on hatred for Hispanics. He literally ran on hatred for Muslims. He literally ran on hatred for Obama. He got to be known on a reality TV show and then downshifted into birtherism because he hated everything about this country. Everything.
Sadly, the American dream is dead.
Don't bite me. The American dream is alive and well. And every person that's, working very hard every single day knows that the American dream is alive and well. The only people that aren't paying any attention to the fact that the American dream is alive and well are people who you refuse to help, who are opioid addicted. You've done nothing. There's been 2 articles, New York Times yesterday and today, that the amount of opioid deaths is going through the roof in places where these pill mills are delivering millions and millions of pills, and it's usually in these red states that haven't invested in their own people, that haven't invested in new technology, that they haven't done anything. It's just so sad. They just sit there and they tell people, hate this one, hate that one, take a pill. That's their answer, the Republicans. That's their answer. I mean, it's just so sad. It's so sad. He literally ran on the American dream is dead. And I alone can fix it. Now, he's so full of crap. This economy has been expanding ever since the keys were given over by a Republican president named W to a Democratic president named Barack Hussein Obama. And the economy was invested in. Some people kicking and screaming, Tea Party, everything. Oh, no, don't invest in us. Literally arguing against an investment in American people who were literally being stolen from with these liar loans and the foreclosures and the banks. And oh my God, literally screaming, no, don't bail us out. It was mind blowing. Obama saved the auto industry. Remember that? Remember that? And as far as our character, McCain showed up for that argument.
And frankly, we're scared. We're scared of an Obama presidency.
We're scared.
First of all, I want to be president of the United States, and obviously I do not want Senator Obama to be. But I have to tell you, he is a decent person and a person that you do not have to be scared as president of the United States. Now, now look, if I didn't think I wouldn't be one heck of a lot better president, I wouldn't be running, okay? And that's the point. That's the point.
At least he was a man. He was a man, a real man. Did you hear the audience? Oh, no, he's not a decent guy. Oh, he's a Kenyan. He's a secret Muslim. Oh, no. And remember the woman who forgot she had a back of her head? Remember her?
Clear for takeoff. The Randi Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandiRhodes.com.
Think of July, think of summer, think of celebration. And you know, you can't have a great celebration without great food. Herky Jerky is here, and they'll help you blast off with an unbeatable July special. All month of July, they're offering one incredible deal. You buy 2 full packs of anything in Herky Jerky's online store and get a free half pack of beef Smokies. Whoa, there's a sweet $21 value that only comes once this year. No promo codes necessary, and free shipping is included. You just place your order on any 2 packs, bacon, turkey, beef, elk, buffalo, venison, or any of the award-winning sticks, and you automatically get a free half pack of beef Smokies. In the comments section, write the flavor you want for free. Mild honey, or my personal favorite, spicy jalapeno. Order today. Your package will be shipped priority mail and delivered fresh to your door. Satisfaction guaranteed. And remember, Herky Jerky is 100% beef, unlike the gas station or supermarket jerky. So visit herkyjerky.com. herkyjerky.com.
I was looking for a better way to check in on our house while I was at work, and a friend recommended Blink. I was skeptical, but decided to give it a shot, and I bought a Blink camera system. With our last security system,
false alarms, wires everywhere, and monthly fees we couldn't get out of.
My bad, but our Blink system is different. They're motion-activated cameras that work inside and outside. They're wire-free, easy to set up, and they run on 2 lithium batteries that last up to 2 years.
Total peace of mind. And Blink camera systems start at under $80 with no subscriptions.
We were on vacation, and I got an alert on my smartphone that motion was detected at our front door. I checked my Blink app, and I saw it was just my cool new device being delivered.
Hey, we agreed no new devices except Blink.
Just kidding. Not kidding.
With Blink camera systems starting under $80, home security just got easier. Go to blinkprotect.com/secure. 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 Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa.
You probably haven't heard about it, but there's another mass migration coming across the U.S.-Mexico border. However, these are not Central American families fleeing horrific conditions back home, only to be separated, incarcerated, traumatized, and demonized by the Trump gang for seeking humanitarian asylum in our country. Rather, these migrants are going the other way, from the USA into Mexican border towns, where they're welcomed with open arms instead of armed guards. They're mostly working-class people seeking relief from our nation's unaffordable, no-care health care system. As many as 6,000 a day travel to towns like Los Algodones, across from Yuma, Arizona, to get medical services and prescription drugs that are priced out of their reach here in the U.S. Nicknamed Molar City, Los Algodones has more dentists per capita than anywhere else in the world. Quality dental work in Mexico averages 2/3 less than it costs here. This is because the health system there prioritizes care over profits. Start with professional education, which is tuition-free in Mexico, meaning dentists and other healthcare providers don't have to jack up prices to cover a crushing load of student debt. Also, Mexico's universal tax-paid healthcare system doesn't saddle patients with exorbitantly expensive insurance bureaucracies. It's a system that's open, affordable, and accessible to all, the opposite of ours, which is why hordes of U.S. working-class people go south to find care. As a Truth Out article reports, U.S. citizens seeking health care can park in Yuma for $5, walk across the border, get the help they need, and come back for dinner. This is Jim Hightower saying, instead of building a senseless border wall to keep people out of the U.S., our leaders ought to be looking across the border for
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randy Rhodes Show.
I got to ask you a question. I do not believe in, I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not.
No, ma'am.
No?
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you. Thanks.
Smattering. That's like less than golf applause from that audience. I mean, because that particular town hall, that was after Sarah Palin had been on the campaign trail saying any damn thing that came into her stupid little head about Muslims and about Russia and about this and about Obama. And he pals around with terrorists. Remember that? That's where all this crap started. And it got really out of control during that particular election cycle to the point where McCain had to be a man. He had to stand up, show that he was a man of decency and character, okay? It probably cost him the election, and Donald Trump is not going to make that same damn mistake of having integrity and character. Because where does it get you? Where does it get you? See what I mean? And that's what all this is about. Now, the Sarah Palin of our time is Jeanine Pirro.
Think about it. Omar wears a hijab,
oh my.
Which according to the Quran 33:59 tells women to cover so they won't get molested.
Yeah, Jews do it too, Jeanine. Are you anti-Semitic as well? I don't even understand. Meanwhile, we have debates, and they did you see that last night on CNN? Oh my God. I think they made the drawing of the names and the corresponding dates. They had these two boxes, and they put all the names of all the candidates in one box, and then in the other box they put the two dates that were debating. Now, this isn't going to be a debate, okay, but they put the two dates, the July 30th and the 31st, right? And then they would pull one name out and match it to the second box. Which date did they get? They milked that for, I don't know, an hour? Did that go? I mean, an hour. I cooked a whole dinner.
It's just another sign that politics is becoming sports. It's kind of like the NBA draft lottery where they sit around to pick the numbers of who's going to draft, and it's an hour show.
It's an hour show.
Yeah, then you have the draft later down, a few months later, where everybody sits around and waits to see who's going to be drafted. Same thing. Politics is becoming sports.
Well, politics, I used to tell people to look at politics as sports because politics is a sport. It is. And the team with the most money usually wins. Okay? It is sport. Policy, on the other hand, is not sport. And when policy turns into sport, meaning you can purchase policy or you can purchase the right to write the policy, which is what, Alec and the Koch brothers, that's what they've purchased for themselves. That's the sin, okay? That's a bridge too far. But if you think of politics as sports, it's exciting, it's fun. You have referees who are the moderators, you got the participants on the field, you got teams. That's not so bad. The idea, though, that policy can be purchased now and that the actual legislation is being written by and submitted by well-moneyed elite people, that is the swamp. Oh, there's another chant. Drain the swamp. Trump is a whole ecosystem of swamp, okay? Trump brought creatures into the swamp that you thought had perished from the planet Earth in the last asteroid, okay? I mean, half his cabinet's in jail. The other half is waiting for sentencing. The other half has been held in contempt of Congress and, criminal contempt, no less. And you got an attorney general that is supposed to now, when there's a criminal contempt citation that's duly voted on by the House, the attorney general is supposed to then have a U.S. attorney, have a special investigator, special prosecutor, okay, like a Mueller. And that prosecutor is supposed to set up a grand jury to hear the charges and to offer an indictment or not. But that will never happen because Bill Barr doesn't work for us. Bill Barr isn't protecting us from corruption or from people who lie to Congress or defy subpoenas from Congress. Bill Barr is a mob lawyer. He's a consigliere, and he's Trump's consigliere, which means we, the American people, have no lawyer. We have no one to argue our side of a case. We have no one to argue our side of corruption or how we're being harmed by it or any of those other things. So that's why he has to go, period. Okay? Right there, that's enough. However, we have debates, and our debates will come on the 30th and the 31st, and it looks like night one should be good. It looks like, night one, you've got Marianne Williamson, who some people are still so into. Fine. that Delaney dude that everybody's going to say, who was that dude? His name's John Delaney. Hickenlooper, you got Tim Ryan. Finally, Bullock, who's the governor of Montana, he is finally going to be in the debate. That should be interesting because I've never heard, from him because he was excluded from the last one. Amy Klobuchar, Beto, Pete Buttigieg, that's interesting. And then, of course, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders on the same night on the same stage. Now, they are very, compatible in that they have an extraordinary feel for the American people and what to do to fix what is wrong, the income inequality, the billions of dollars in profit, the denial that these profitable companies that got these mega reductions in their tax rates that are making billions of dollars can't afford to pay $15 an hour. Oh, hell, I pay $15 an hour. I pay $15 an hour. But they can't afford to pay $15 an hour. It's just like so amazing. So that'll be the first night. Second night is Kirsten Gillibrand, Tulsi Gabbard, Bill Bennett, Bill de Blasio, Cory Booker, Andrew Yang, Julian Castro, and then, luck of the draw, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden again next to each other. I don't know that they'll be next to each other. I haven't looked at the podium positions yet, but they will be on the stage together for the second night. So these are our debates. Ideas will be discussed. Policies will be discussed. Moving forward will be discussed. The fact that America is always looking to do the next new great thing. That is who we are. We are not nostalgic. We're not a country that looks back the way Trump wants you to. We're not a country who says we need to go back to the 1950s or pre-civil rights to make America feel good for certain people again. No, America is optimistic. America likes progress. America's always looking for the new thing, for the new technology, for the new. And if it ain't hot enough for you this weekend, I don't know what to say to you anymore. I really don't. I mean, obviously, heat waves have increased in frequency. We used to have 2 heat waves per year. We now have 6 per year. 6 heat waves. The whole Northeast is going to be an oven. And you know what's crazy? A lot of people, many people in the Northeast don't have air conditioning because they never needed it. So they've had to open up public cooling places.
To speak to Randy, call now, you bastards. 561-270-3844.
Hello.
Randy Rhodes. Air Force.
If you need anything from a simple home repair to a major remodel, you need to know about Home Advisor. It's a totally free service that instantly connects you with top local service pros.
Home Advisor is a very easy way to find a home contractor, and for me, it's the only way.
You can use Home Advisor for everything. Your house cleaning, your painting.
Electricians, plumbers, handymen. We've had nothing but fabulous every single time.
Just select the type of work you need done, and Home Advisor's ProFinder technology instantly finds top pros in your area. You can read customer reviews of the pros, even use their cost guide to find out what hundreds of other repair and improvement projects cost in your area.
I think everybody should use Home Advisor. In fact, I tell everybody to use Home Advisor.
Home Advisor is a total solution to any type of work you would ever want to do around your house.
And best of all, it's completely free. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
I'm David Pakman, host of The David Pakman Show on the Progressive Voices channel. Check out this clip from my show. You might remember or you might not, because corporate media basically hasn't covered this, which is that Donald Trump has been accused not just of sexually assaulting more than a dozen adult women, but of raping a 13-year-old girl. And I've told you before that this event allegedly took place along with one of Donald Trump's, I don't know if we call him an associate or an acquaintance or a friend, but it's a guy named Jeffrey Epstein. A woman known only as Jane Doe previously had alleged that when she was 13 years old, Donald Trump raped her at a party thrown by Jeffrey Epstein, and that Epstein himself had also raped her. Now, the woman ended up fearing for her life and dropping a civil suit against Donald Trump. But of course, the allegations themselves have not been recanted. Epstein has been sort of a slippery guy to actually charge with some of these incidents, but he has now been arrested and charged with sex trafficking dating back to the early 2000s. He is now facing charges for paying underage girls for massages and molesting them in Florida and New York homes that he owns. And before we even get to the Trump connection, because that's a whole other thing, I have to tell you that the right is spreading endless lies already about Epstein. One example is the right is saying the Robert Mueller FBI allowed Epstein to plead to lesser charges and avoid a long jail sentence. The truth is that the deal Epstein previously got for charges was from the then Miami U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta, who happens to be Trump's labor secretary now. This is now really bad. The records say Epstein brought 40 girls who were underage to his Florida mansion, and they were sold into sexual encounters of all kinds. These allegations are truly disgusting and disturbing. And then the Trump piece pops up. Trump said about Jeffrey Epstein to New York Magazine in 2002, quote, "I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." Not good. Not good. So back to the allegations that Donald Trump raped one of the same girls that Epstein allegedly raped when she was 13 at Epstein's Manhattan condo. I don't know if they're going to resurface here as a result of this arrest, but this is certainly not what Donald Trump would consider to be good news to have Jeffrey Epstein back in the public spotlight in this way. Now, I've looked at the content of the lawsuit that, again, was filed against Donald Trump for the rape. The charges were eventually dropped, supposedly because of death threats against the accuser. It is shocking what is in the lawsuit. I'm not going to read it to you. It's dozens of pages, but you can easily find it online, and we're going to link to it on YouTube. The accuser claimed before the lawsuit was withdrawn, just as a few highlights, that Trump threatened her to never talk about the rape or she risked.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Quoting the president yesterday, you all are people who hate our country with a passion. You hate Jewish people, and you love enemies like Al-Qaeda. You hear those statements coming from the president of the United States to describe you all, and you think what?
I think that America has always been a story, and America has always been about the triumph of people who fight for everyone versus those who want to preserve rights for just a select few. And there is no bottom to the barrel of vitriol that will be used and weaponized to stifle those who want to advance rights for all people in the United States.
We can talk about and spin out on about hateful words, which are a predictable prompt by the occupant of this White House, and I call him that. Not because I don't have respect for the Oval Office.
But it sounds
not
like you
because
don't have respect for the Oval Office when you call the President of the United States the occupant.
No, because he is only occupying the space. He does not embody the principles, the responsibility, the grace, the integrity of a true president. And so for that reason, I'm not dishonoring the office. He does every day. Mm-hmm. This is a distraction. This is a disruption on our leading and legislating and governing on the issues of care and concern and consequence to the American people.
What did you think when you heard the tweet?
For me, I'm hearing about this from folks saying, did you see what the president just said? At the same time that I'm getting text messages from people saying, Rashida, what can we do? I heard ICE is now knocking on doors without warrants. I'm trying to represent my district. It's a very diverse district, 20 different ethnicities, and I'm trying to fight on their behalf, trying to make sure that they have a voice here. At the same time, I'm dealing with the biggest bully I've ever had to deal with in my lifetime.
Yeah, they're haters, aren't they? Yeah, they are. These are women of ill will. These are people that, think America is garbage. They've never said these things that he is saying they said. Never. No, but none of them have ever trashed this country, okay? They are simply fighting for all people to have equal representation and equal justice under our laws. That is so American. That is so, it's everything that we are. So, I'm happy whenever somebody interviews them. Interview them more. I'm happy when I see Ilhan Omar be welcomed back home. He told her to go back home. She went back home. Except he, because he sees her in a way that he sees her, he thinks home is, Africa somewhere. No, home is Minnesota, and that's where she went last night. That's home, and she got this. Now, this is my favorite clip of the week, I think, and it happened yesterday, and very, 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 very few people have seen it, and you really need to see this. Actually, I think it happened Wednesday. Today's Friday, so it's been 2 days. Nobody's really talking about this, but on Wednesday, as part of the State Department having a sort of a policy hearing with victims of religious persecution from a wide variety of countries: China, Turkey, North Korea, Iran, Iraq, Myanmar, okay? Mike Pompeo thought it might be useful to use these people as props because the president was being trashed so hard by his own party for escalating the racism and the fascism and the authoritarianism in this country after the Sunday tweets, okay? And that they knew he had this North Carolina rally in Greenville, and they knew he was going to go off the rails. This was pre-planned, by the way. That's why there were T-shirts available, okay? So on Wednesday, before he went down to Greenville, he met with a group of victims of religious persecution from all these countries that Mike Pompeo chose to meet with. It did not go well. A woman named Nadia Murad, who was captured by ISIS and won a Nobel Peace Prize for her efforts to end, I'll just say it, rape as a weapon of war and armed conflict. She was invited into the Oval Office, and she's a Yazidi in Iraq. Now, Yazidis are a minorities group in Iraq, and what happened to her is unthinkable, okay? She was enslaved by and tortured by ISIS after the terrorist group took over her village in 2014. That day, she lost 18 members of her family in one day. Her mother and her brothers were killed in front of her. Yeah, I know. And you would think that Donald Trump would be familiar with her or her story or what she had been through. He was only fascinated with the fact that she won the Nobel Prize and wanted to know what for. It's really, this is twisted.
Vice President, he helped us a lot, but now today you can't solve our problem. Now there's no ISIS, but we cannot go back because Kurdish government and the Iraqi government, they are fighting each other who will control my area, and we cannot go back if we cannot protect our dignity, our family. But we get a lot of support from President Macron. He put a lot of pressure in Iraqi and Kurdistan government to help minorities, Yazidi, to stay in their home, but we still continue to immigrate to find a safe place to live. I hope you can call or anything to Iraqi and Kurdistan government to.
But ISIS is gone.
But if I
now
can,
it's Kurdish and who?
Iraqi government.
And now it's Kurdish and who? But ISIS is gone, and now it's Kurdish and who? She said it's Iraqi. It's Kurdish and Iraqi, and they don't like Yazidis, and we have no place to live. And can't you help us? Could you please make a phone call? Could you just pick up a phone and make a phone call? Well, who am I calling? It's the Iraqis and the Kurds. They're fighting over my territory. I have no safe place to live. Could you please make a phone call and ask the Iraqi government and the Kurdish to help the Yazidi people return safely to their homeland? He says, but ISIS is gone now, and it's the Kurdish and who? But wait, when we come back on the other side, the lie is even more disgusting. He's going to say, oh, I know the area very well. Now, the UN Secretary General has been quoted as saying about this woman, Nadia Murad, that he was moved to tears by the fate of this young woman, as well as by her strength, courage, and dignity. And yet our president has no idea who's in the Oval Office, who he's talking to.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
Oh, wow. No, I'm not kidding. This is an oh, wow. I have tried something so amazing, and if you have 10 minutes, you can do it too, and you can look so much younger. And I'm telling you, in 10 minutes, not weeks, not days, not months, 10 minutes. It's a magical little drop or two of this serum called Plexiderm. It's clinically studied. It's a serum that you put just a dab under your eyes, and it removes the bags and wrinkles in minutes. Minutes, I'm telling you. If you look older and a little tired because you got crow's feet or wrinkles or the under eye bag, give me 10 minutes with Plexiderm and you will look younger. You will look younger. It's just amazing. You could see it for yourself. You could watch a real video with real people and see how fast this thing works. Under eye bags are going to disappear. These results are backed up by a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. So just go try Plexiderm at tryplexiderm.com and use promo code SEXYLIBERAL for my discount. Try it. You're going to love this.
I was a diet soda junkie. I drank 10 cans a day.
Kara Golden, founder of Hint Water, with an invitation to switch from diet sodas and sugary drinks to Hint for 30 days.
I worked out and dieted, but I did not feel healthy. Then it hit me. After every diet soda, I craved sweets. Those diet sweeteners were making me eat more. I stopped diet sodas cold turkey and switched to water. My energy returned and I lost the weight, but plain water was boring. So I added fruit to liven it up. But when I looked for flavored water in stores, they all had sugar or diet sweeteners. So I started Hint, fruit-infused water with no sugar, no sweeteners, and no calories. Just great taste. See for yourself. Switch from diet soda and sugary drinks to Hint.
Right now, you can buy 2 cases of Hint Water and get a 3rd case free and free shipping. Go to drinkhint.com/radio. drinkhint.com/radio. That's drinkhint.com/radio.
I'm David Pakman, host of The David Pakman Show on the Progressive Voices channel. Check out this clip from my show. All right, audience questions. I'm finding that I'm getting better at picking some of these lately. I'm having a better sense of what is the audience actually interested in. We had a lot of duds early on. Okay, the question, my fault, of course, not anybody else's. Poor selection. The first question today, could Trump voters be convinced to vote for someone like Bernie or Warren if Bernie or Warren were the nominees? There's always like 2, if not 3 answers to these is it possible question. The first is, of course it's possible. Some Democrats voted for Trump. So in a sort of general abstract sense, yes, there are Trump voters who would be convincible to vote for Bernie or Warren. And many of them would just do it without needing to be convinced merely because they're not pleased with Donald Trump, some fraction of them. Now, what is the real philosophy that would be the most cleanly transitional one from being a Trump voter in 2016 to a Bernie or Warren voter in 2020? I think that it is populism. Now, it's really important. I have no confusion that the populistic rhetoric of Donald Trump is, number one, bogus, but number two, it's a right-wing rhetoric. It's a more nationalist rhetoric. Nationalist populist rhetoric. It is not at all the same thing as the left progressive rhetoric, certainly of Bernie Sanders and to some degree of Elizabeth Warren. But the messaging, at least at the superficial level, can seem quite similar between Trump's faux right populism and Bernie and Warren's actual left populism. So there is no doubt that if you were attracted to Trump in 2016 on the basis of his populistic-ish, I mean, I'm hedging, it's not populist, it's populistic-ish sort of rhetoric, then there is actually a sort of credible path to get over to somebody like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. And in fact, anecdotally, we heard about Bernie primary supporters who ended up voting for Trump, which I was a Bernie primary supporter in 16. I think it would have been absolutely whacked to support Trump. And here we are, Trump having 2 Supreme Court picks and almost going to war with like 3 countries, which Hillary simply would not have done. Not that I was a Hillary lover by any means. The problem with like a big picture move from Trump voters to Bernie or Warren on policy and philosophy, rather than merely on they're displeased with Trump and maybe they'll vote for the alternative, is that there is no real coalition within the American right that fits into the Bernie Warren thing. The right populist rhetoric of 2016 may work to get some people just by sort of a numbers game to support Bernie or Warren. But it's not like the evangelical right that ultimately went for Trump, even though early they liked Cruz and whoever else. That's not a coalition that's going to get behind Bernie or Warren, even though I would make the argument that Bernie and Warren's policy is much more in line with what evangelical Christianity at least claims to stand for, if not actually stands for.
This is the Randy Rhodes Show. To speak with Randy, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, here's Nadia Murad, who survived against all odds. I don't know if you remember this, but during the Iraq War in the northern part of Iraq, a minority, the oldest minority in Iraq, the Yazidis, were surrounded by ISIS, and they took like 40,000 Yazidis hostage, and started killing their whole family. I mean, it was like it's ethnic cleansing. And this one young woman named Nadia Murad, she's only 25 years old, literally watched her mother and her brothers die right in front of her, and then 18 members of her family were slaughtered, and she managed to escape. Okay. And when she escaped, she refused to give up. So she actually went to the president yesterday and asked the president, couldn't he just pick up the phone? Couldn't he just pick up the phone and call, Yazidis are a Kurdish minority. Couldn't they just pick up the phone and figure out what to do about this part of Iraq where the Iraqis and the Kurds are fighting for this territory, right? So that she would have a safe place to go home to. Okay. It's religious persecution for those of you who, are all about religious freedom. Just saying. Okay? Listen to your president.
We'll continue to immigrate to find a safe place to live. I hope you can call or anything to Iraqi and Kurdistan government to.
But ISIS is gone.
But
but now it's Kurdish and who?
Iraqi government. If I cannot go to my home and live in a safe place and get my dignity back. This is not about ISIS. It's about I'm in danger. My people cannot go back. We are not million of people. We are only 500,000 people. And after 2014, about 95,000 Yazidi, they immigrate to Germany through a very dangerous way. Not because we want to be refugees, but we cannot find a safe place to live. All this happened to me. They killed my mom, my 6 brother. They left behind them.
Where are they now?
They killed them. They are in the mass graves in Sinjar.
Did he really just say that? Yeah. Did he really just say that? She said, they killed my mother and my 6 brothers. And he actually says, where are they now? And she said, they killed them, and I'm still fighting just to live in safety. They're in the mountains in Sinjar, buried. Where are they now? The Kurdish and who? Oh my God, this is your commander-in-chief. This is a man who's supposed to understand the world we live in, okay?
And I'm still fighting just to live in safe. Please do something.
Please do something.
It's not about one family.
I know the area very well you're talking about.
It's about health.
I know that.
It's about the whole community.
Okay. We're going to look into it very
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
And you had the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But
They gave it to you for what reason? Maybe
Oh, my
you could
God.
explain.
for what reason? For that, after all this happened to me, I didn't give up. I make it clear to everyone that ISIS raped thousands of Yazidi women. This one was first time the woman from Iraq, she get out and spoke about what happened to them.
Oh, really?
And
Is that right?
It's
That's the
first time, and it's.
So you escaped?
I escaped, but I don't have my freedom
I
yet
understand.
because you didn't see any ISIS in court. ISIS are, we don't know if they killed everyone, if they are in jail, but we know we have 3,000 Yazidi women and children, including my niece, my nephew, my sister-in-law. 3 years ago she called us, she said, I'm in Syria, and now we didn't know anything about it.
Let me look. We're going to look. Okay? Thank you very much.
Let me look. We're going to look. Thank you very much. He had no idea where she's from, what the issue was, why she won the Nobel Prize. She won the Nobel Prize because she is the first Iraqi woman to escape and to actually go to the United Nations and call out rape as a weapon of war and make that part of crimes against humanity, okay? ISIS started a bloodbath in her village. There was about 2,000 people there, and she was held captive for 3 months by ISIS. And during that time, she was used as a sex slave. She was beaten. She was tortured. She was raped. But she managed to escape. And where did she go? She went to Germany. 95,000 of those Yazidi people went to Germany. And Donald Trump trashes Angela Merkel for taking in these same women, these same refugees. He has no idea who he's talking to. He has no idea what her work is. He has no idea what her story is. He has no idea what's going on in the northern part of Iraq. He has no idea of anything. And she's just like, please, can you help us? Can you just pick up the phone? Can you just call? Now, a lot of the women that were involved in this horrific circumstance, they killed themselves. And she said, I did not want to kill myself, but I did want them to kill me. She's 25 years old. He had no clue. Okay, she wasn't the only one in the office yesterday. There was another man. He's part of the Rohingyas. The Rohingyas are a Muslim minority that are put in concentration camps by Chinese. There's 1 million Rohingyas in Chinese concentration camps. Okay? So here you have a man who's talking to Donald Trump about his experience as a Rohingya. Okay? Trump has no idea who he is, what it is, where he's from, what part of it's just so sick. He doesn't understand one thing.
Do you have any communication with him?
I haven't heard about him since 2017 because that's when the concentration camp started. Anyone who goes to ask about anybody's family member's news will never make their way back to their own homes.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Hi.
So I am a Rohingya from Bangladesh refugee camp. So most of the Rohingya refugees are willing to go back home as quickly as possible. So what is the plan to help us? So thank you very much.
And where is that exactly? Where?
Bangladesh refugee camp.
Bangladesh right next to Burma.
No, that's wrong. Myanmar is Burma. Can you believe this? This is such shoddy work. Now, okay, I get you don't know where Myanmar is. You don't know that it's Burma. Maybe you don't know the story of the Yazidis, but he is the president of the United States of America, and he invited these people into. This is why staff briefs a president about the people he's about to meet. This is why people, like Pompeo, who invited them. He knows their story, and the president doesn't read the briefings. The president doesn't care about the brief. He doesn't give a damn. He just thought, well, I'm in trouble with Muslims in this country. I need to bring some Muslim people. I need to bring some people that were saved by from ISIS, and they'll all just come and they'll pledge fealty to me and tell me what a great guy I am for rescuing their. And it turned out that they were there asking him for help and he didn't even understand the issues because he doesn't read the briefings. He is unfit, you understand, to be the president of the United States. The best people. Everyone is enacting. Everyone, like I said, half of his cabinet is gone. Some of them are in jail. His campaign, most of his campaign, his manager, his lawyer, they're in jail. Flynn is waiting to go to jail. I mean, it's just, this is so sick. Meanwhile, the only thing he has to offer you, and I can't say this strongly, quickly, more beautifully enough. Okay? I can't. He has no accomplishments. He has done no thing for you. He has not done a middle-class tax cut. He hasn't done an infrastructure bill. He doesn't have a plan for immigration. He doesn't have a health care plan. He doesn't have a jobs package. He doesn't have an education package. He doesn't have anything to offer you. Mexico is never paying for his stupid wall. He has no new miles of wall built. All he has is fencing that is being repaired. He's giving subsidies to farmers because they can't sell their soybeans because of his stupid trade war, which has absolutely no effect on China. And all the effects are on our importers because they're the ones who pay the import tax that he's levied. The guys who spent years developing relationships with people who would buy their soybeans, those relationships are trashed. China's buying their soybeans from Brazil. These markets will not be resurrected anytime soon. This president is he's a failure. Hashtag failure. All right. Wednesday, Mueller testifies. We'll be back for that. Enjoy the weekend.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
This is Richard Painter with this week's Politics Podcast. We've had an eventful week in the continuing efforts to assure that our country is run according to the rule of law, not just the will of Donald Trump. First, the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, in a decision that I believe is very, very wrong, has decided that the state of Maryland and the District of Columbia do not have standing to sue President Trump under the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. The Federal District Court in Maryland had ruled that the state of Maryland and the District of Columbia did have standing to sue, and the Federal District Court...
And then vote out articles of impeachment on the floor. And my last observation about the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. Speaker Pelosi is one of the House of Representatives. It consists of, I believe, 435 members, Democrats and Republicans. She has one vote. Speaker Pelosi has no business telling members of the United States House of Representatives of either party how to vote, whether she's right or wrong in an immigration bill. She has no business telling AOC, a congresswoman from New York, how to vote. That's between her and the members of her district. The Speaker of the United States House of Representatives should not run the impeachment process, should not be telling the members of the Democratic caucus how to vote on the matter of impeachment. It is for each member of the United States House of Representatives to read the Mueller report, to read the Constitution of the United States, and decide on the merits whether this president has committed high crimes and misdemeanors. If the answer to that question is yes,
find the Politics Podcast with Richard Painter wherever books are sold.
Buy a stinking podcast.